Do you ever feel like no matter how much sleep you get, you still wake up in the morning feeling exhausted? Like your body is running on fumes and caffeine is just not cutting it anymore. Yeah, that was me. And I know as women especially, we're told that like this is just part of mom life, or this is just part of getting older and getting closer to menopause. But I did not accept daily fatigue as my fate. I did not want to live like this for the rest of my life. What I eventually learned changed everything. So in today's video, I'm spilling the 6 shifts I made to heal my metabolism and kick that fatigue to the curb. So stick around so you can get the how-to to go from that zombie mom mode to actually living and enjoying your life. Your exhaustion does not have to be your forever, and I'm proof that it can change. By the end of this video, you'll know the practical steps that I took to get my energy back and how you can do the same and you can get started today. Well, hello and welcome. I'm Brittany from Nourish with Brit, and I help tired moms get their energy back so that they can feel amazing. If you're new here, I am so glad that you're here. Make sure to hit subscribe. It is, of course, completely free. It only takes 2 seconds, and you'll be able to stay updated and catch all my future videos and tips to help you stay healthy and well. In my last video, I kind of gave the backstory of how I got to this place and kind of my fatigue story and how like my fatigue developed and how I came to realize that metabolism was at the root of my chronic fatigue. Well, today I'm gonna kind of continue that story and dive into how I fixed my metabolism and said bye-bye to my fatigue. But before we dive in, if you are looking for like an easy, just like first step that you can take to start feeling better and boost your energy, then grab my free guide, The Perfect Pick-Me-Up for Tired Moms, which is linked below. It's full of simple, nourishing drink recipes to kickstart your energy, manage your stress better, replenish nutrients that are lost during stress and that you need for a healthy, thriving metabolism. And I'm actually gonna go make one of mine right now. Delicious. All right, so let's do this. I see so many moms who are done being wiped out. They are sick and tired of being tired all the time. They come to me saying, Brittany, I want my energy back. I'm eating kale, I'm taking a ton of different supplements, the right supplements, and I'm dragging myself to workouts even though I'm too tired, but I still can't get my energy back. They're spent and they are over it. Does this sound familiar at all to you? That was me too. And it wasn't just like being tired. It was the kind of exhaustion that was making simple tasks like making dinner for my family or playing with my kids feel impossible. I, at the time, couldn't see how I could get through it, and I couldn't wait to be done with all the responsibilities of the day and just crash in my bed. But here's what I didn't realize back then. My metabolism was the culprit. It was a wreck. And because of that, it was tanking my energy. So you're probably thinking, okay, like what does that actually mean? We hear metabolism a lot and we recognize it as being like how quickly or how slowly, how able you are to lose weight. But your metabolism is the process of how your body takes the fuel that you are providing it with and turning it into energy to power all the processes that are going on in your body. And when your metabolism is sluggish, when it slows down, your cells all over your body, the trillions of cells in your body, are not able to generate enough energy, which there's a molecule for energy called ATP. And when your body's not making enough of that, it starts to shift its focus to survival. It starts to kind of power down, slow things down, and just do the bare minimum so that it's able to keep you alive. It focuses on the necessary, immediate tasks rather than running things optimally and allowing you to feel your best. So my body wasn't just tired, it was underfueled, undernourished, depleted, and screaming for help. This was a sign from my body's telling me like, hey, you need to change some things. I don't have the energy to keep going. You gotta help me out here. And so once I listened to that signal and I started to work with my metabolism instead of against it, things started to change. So I'm gonna share with you the 6 things that I changed, 6 shifts I made that made all the difference for me. So number 1, and probably the biggest one, was eating enough food. Getting in enough calories for my body and making sure that those calories were balanced and that I wasn't afraid of carbs, especially. For years, I thought that, eating less was like a sign of being healthy. That was the key to better health. You look better and skinnier when you eat less food. That's what I thought. So I restricted calories. I avoided carbs. I tried lots of different diets. I did paleo, keto, carnivore for a little bit. I was kind of stuck in this diet culture and focusing on what foods and what macronutrients I needed to restrict and avoid. But here's the problem. Your metabolism needs fuel to run. Like, that's the most basic thing. When we boil it down, without calories, your metabolism does not work. It has to have that fuel to turn into energy. And starving it just slows things down. It does not have the fuel to run things properly. So it downshifts things. That's a way that your body actually helps you. It keeps you alive by slowing you down and running things at an appropriate level based on the fuel it is getting. So if you're not eating enough, your body doesn't have the raw materials it needs to make energy. When I wasn't eating enough, my thyroid slowed down, which reduced my metabolism. Your thyroid makes hormones to signal to all your cells to run metabolism, speed things up, keep using that glucose and that oxygen and making energy. My body produced less of other hormones like estrogen and progesterone because hormone production requires energy. The organs and tissues and glands in your body that make hormones have to have energy to run. So because of this, I felt exhausted, weak, and stuck in this survival mode. My digestion also slowed down because it didn't have the energy to run things either, right? Your digestive tract, your intestines require energy to keep food moving, to keep digesting and moving it through your digestive tract. But I did something called an HTMA, a hair tissue mineral analysis. I saw the proof there that my metabolism was crawling. It was so slow. That test opened my eyes to, actually see the numbers there and see how the way I was eating and living was affecting me at a cellular level. I realized that even though I was eating clean and I was eating, healthy foods, my body was starving. I knew I had to start eating more food, giving my body more calories, and making sure I was eating well-balanced meals. My body especially needed more carbs than what I had been allowing it. So I did. I started fueling my body properly, and man, things started to change pretty quickly. I started eating eggs with sausage and oranges, bananas, some kind of fruit, sweet potatoes with sea salt and other seasonings, with grass-fed beef, a lot more fruit, allowing myself to have that natural sugar, which is so crucial to our metabolism and to our thyroid, and also full of minerals, which we're gonna get to in a second. I started having fruit juice, real fruit juice, and raw milk, raw honey, and homemade sourdough bread. I realized that carbs are not the enemy that I was led to believe. They are actually your body's primary source of fuel, their preferred source of fuel. I would do oatmeal with berries and a dollop of Greek yogurt for breakfast, and sourdough bread with oysters and some fruit for lunch, rather than just having like a salad. And suddenly I wasn't crashing anymore at 2 p.m. I wasn't having those after lunch energy slumps. My energy started to stabilize and be more consistent throughout the day. I slept better at night. It was like my body was saying like, oh wow, we're eating enough again. You're finally feeding me. We're not starving anymore. Yay, this feels good. So this was a huge shift for me. And like I said, my energy started to improve very quickly when I started to bump my calories up. And once I stopped depriving my body and really started to focus on nourishing it and giving it the things that it needs. The next shift I made was balancing my minerals. I mentioned that I had an HTMA done, which hit me like a ton of bricks and was so eye-opening for me. If you're not familiar with HTMA, it is a test that looks at a little bit of your hair and tests for the levels of different minerals and heavy metals. Minerals are so crucial to your body. They are like the spark plugs that power your cells to make energy. I said earlier how calories are the fuel for your metabolism fire that they use to convert into energy. But running that process of metabolism requires minerals. They regulate your thyroid and adrenal function. They're necessary for hormone production, immune function, detox, digestion. Like literally everything in your body requires minerals. And not only do we require minerals, but we need our minerals to be in good balance with each other, have good ratios between certain minerals. And my minerals were not balanced. They were a hot mess. I had low sodium and potassium, which led to extreme fatigue, low blood pressure, and dizziness, especially when I would sit down and then stand up quickly. That is from low sodium and potassium, which your adrenal glands really need. That's why our adrenal cocktails have those key nutrients in it. I had low magnesium, which contributed to muscle tightness and poor sleep I was having, and anxiety. My copper and zinc levels were very unbalanced. I had really high copper and low zinc, and those two minerals are really important for hormones. They were contributing to why my hormones were so out of balance. Several of my minerals were just tanked from years of under eating and not really prioritizing mineral rich foods. I had been running on empty, and it was definitely showing up on my test. In a way, it was kind of discouraging seeing my test, but it was also very validating. It proved why I felt the way I felt and what I needed to change to balance my minerals back and therefore bring stability to my body. So I got to work, started sipping those adrenal cocktails, adding in more mineral-rich foods like fruit, coconut water, sea salt, bananas, potatoes, oysters, beef liver, nettle tea, dark chocolate. Yes, dark chocolate is actually full of magnesium, spinach, and then also targeted supplementation based on my test and what I specifically needed. That's the thing with supplements. All of our bodies are unique. We are different, and not everyone needs the same nutrients, the same supplements to get them to a place of stability and optimization in their body where their metabolism is working at a good rate. And I didn't just do one test. I had more tests done, and I still do 2 tests a year to track my progress and making sure the things that I'm doing are making a good difference and they are improving my mineral levels. But within weeks of starting to prioritize my minerals, my stress response calmed down, my sleep got better, my energy improved more. It's kind of like I, flipped the switch on my metabolism and helped get things running again. The third shift I made was managing my stress better and choosing rest over hustle. And this one was probably the hardest shift for me. I had always been someone that, pushed through and was very task oriented and try to get everything checked off on my to-do list. If I looked at people that were resting and not doing any kind of work, kind of viewed them as being lazy. I had a lot of stress going on. I was teaching, starting to blog, a mom of young kids, and this was about 6 years ago when my fatigue started. It was before the crunchy community got as big as I feel like it is right now. I was starting to learn about the toxins in our food and in our personal care products, and I was freaking out about it. Not that that was not important. Reducing your toxins is important. In fact, that's one of the points I'm going to be getting to. But the way that I went about it at first was more so out of fear, and that pursuit of living toxic free became a stressor to me. So I had all this stress going on, and I thought, just pushing through and continuing made me like a champ, yeah, I can do it. But inside, that stress was eating me away. Here's the thing. Stress is not just a mental thing. It's not just emotional. Stress does cause real physiological changes in your body. For one thing, it spikes the hormone cortisol. Your brain gets that message of the stress and it slows down its production of thyroid hormone. And that's what slows down your metabolism and puts you into that survival mode. So even though I was starting to eat better, I was starting to prioritize minerals, I knew that I could not fully heal my body if I didn't start to manage my stress better. So I did. I started to get really practical. I started saying no to things more often and reducing the unnecessary tasks that didn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. Maybe they would matter more later on, but at this season of my life, they were not a priority for me. Like keeping my attic organized and my kitchen clutter-free. Yes, those are things that I want, but at this season in my life where I'm struggling to make it through the day, I have this extreme chronic fatigue where I would lay in bed sometimes almost all day long. Those things were not important. There were definitely days where the dishes piled up in the sink because my energy was so low. I felt like it was at 10% energy level. But in those moments, resting trumped doing the dishes. So I started doing things like closing myself in my bedroom for 5 minutes and just being in the quiet and doing some deep breathing. I started walking outside more, getting sunshine, getting fresh air, just listening to the sounds of nature and getting away from everything else. I also prayed more and spent time with God, gave him my concerns and dove into his word and read his promises to me, and that brought so much comfort and peace. I started reading more and journaling before bed and kind of get things out of my head and onto paper so I didn't have to worry about them when I was lying in bed trying to sleep. At first, slowing down felt wrong. I was very much a doer, and not doing as much made me feel like I was slacking. But when I gave myself permission to rest, my body thanked me and my energy actually increased. And now I'm able to do a lot more than I did before. Speeding up actually involves slowing down first. Slowing down and allowing your body to do the work to heal before you're able to speed up. Back then, I didn't really have a system for this. I just kind of tried different things to see what would work for me. But later, I made these cards called Reclaim Your Calm cards. And they are 52 stress busting strategies to help moms who are stuck in this crazy stress cycle that we all know too well. So they're quick kind of hacks that I wish I had back then. It would have made it a lot easier to know how I can reduce some stress in my life, lower those stress hormones, and get my metabolism to a place where it can speed back up. But I have them now, I have them made now for you, so you can check them out. The link is below if you want to go check those out and get them for yourself. The next shift I made was exercising smarter, not harder. I used to think that like the sweatier the exercise and the more calories I burned, the better the workout. If I'm burning more calories, that means it's better for me, right? Well, hang on. Remember, at the same time, I wasn't eating enough calories. So I wasn't bringing many calories in, but I was exercising and burning calories that I didn't have to spare. Even when I was exhausted, I forced myself to do high intensity interval training and cardio and just pushing through the fatigue and becoming even more exhausted than I was to begin with. But exercising too intensely when your metabolism is slow just makes things worse. All it did was raise my cortisol more, keep me in this stressed fight or flight mode, and drained me more. Too much cardio actually depletes your glycogen, which is the storage form of glucose. Your cells need glucose, which comes from carbohydrates, to make energy. Because this is so important for your body, it does store extra glucose as glycogen. It stores it primarily in your liver and your muscles. And when you exercise a lot, you're using that glycogen up to fuel your workout. But when you exercise a lot, you're not bringing enough glucose in, your glycogen stores become depleted, and that leaves you feeling exhausted. So I shifted my focus. Instead of trying to force my body into submission, force it to get into shape, I focused on movement that supported my metabolism, which a big one was walking. Like I mentioned already, I started walking daily, multiple times a day. The great thing about that is walking doesn't require as much energy. So when you are feeling low on energy, it doesn't require as much oomph to get through it. And it's a really great stress reliever, especially when you're able to walk outside in nature. I also added strength training that was like low impact, like not strength training mixed with cardio together, but solely strength training. This helped to build muscle without overtaxing my body. And muscle is really important for metabolism because muscle tissue has so much mitochondria, which is where energy is made. The more muscle you have, the more mitochondria you have making energy, so the more energy you will likely have. So I stopped pushing through exhaustion and started really listening to my body and tuning in to what it needed and taking rest days when I needed it, when that's what my body was asking for. The fifth shift I made was better sleep routines. I struggled with sleep back in the day. I had trouble falling asleep mostly. I would just lie in bed, awake for hours, just kind of running through my to-do list in my head for tomorrow. All the things that I needed to accomplish. That would like kind of lead me down different rabbit trails. I just had trouble just turning my brain off and just going to sleep. Let me know if that's something that you struggle with as well. All the other things I did, all the 4 other things I talked about, eating enough, getting more carbs in, getting my minerals in, reducing stress, moving more appropriately, those things all work together to help improve my sleep. But I also did some other things to help my sleep get back on track. I switched my light bulbs in my room on my lamps on my nightstands to red light bulbs, which helps you with your circadian rhythm. Red light signals to your brain that it is like sunset and it's time to wind down. It's time to start making melatonin, that sleep hormone that helps prepare your body, get you more in a relaxed state and ready for sleep. I diffused lavender oil before bed to help calm me, and like I said earlier, read books and journaled before bed to try to spend some time before I would go to sleep without blue lights on, without looking at my phone or watching TV or working on my computer. But sleep is so important for a healthy metabolism. Your body needs that recharge. In order to wake up feeling refreshed and energized, it needs that time of sleep. It does so much while you're sleeping. It helps to detox your body, especially your brain. It helps to sort through everything that went on that day and file things in your brain. It also just gives you a time where you're not moving, you're not as active, you're not doing so much, you're not having to use up as much energy during that time. When you are asleep, your body still does work, but in that unconscious state, you're not physically active. And so your body doesn't use up as much energy. It is all about repair and recharge, processing that day and getting ready for the next day. All right, the last shift I made, which I alluded to earlier, was ditching toxins. So I shared how I had already been ditching toxins in my home back 7 years ago or so. I started this whole health journey initially to fix my eczema. And so through that, I began swapping things out in my home, trading in toxic Bath and Body Works shower gel to non-toxic soap, quitting using the wall plugins and the candles and switching to things like essential oils. Remember, I didn't go about it necessarily the right way at the beginning. It was more out of stress, like, oh no, I'm learning about all these toxins and how they're everywhere and they do so much harm for our bodies. They hinder that metabolism, that process of converting food into energy, and they mess with your hormones. They can cause cancer, they can cause gut issues, all these things. Like, oh no, we need to get them out of here. So I switched from more of that stressed out state to a more peaceful mode where I am making informed decisions. I'm reading, I'm learning, but I'm not freaking out. I'm using that information and I'm making switches as we are able, as we are financially able to do those things. So like investing in a water filter and an air purifier and a sauna, or using cast iron skillets instead of nonstick Teflon pans. My HDMA also showed that I had heavy metals on board. Heavy metals like aluminum that had been building up in my body over time, probably, since I was in my mother's womb. And working on balancing my minerals and improving my metabolism in these other ways naturally improve my body's ability to detox these things. When your liver and your kidneys have more energy to work with, they're able to detox and get rid of these yucky chemicals and toxins. So my body did start to dump heavy metals. And so I added in a supplement to help with that process, a supplement called a binder that literally binds, it grabs onto toxins and helps to pull them out through your urine and your feces and get rid of those things so they don't recirculate and cause problems again. So with removing toxins and improving my body's ability to detox from those things, not only did my energy get better, but my eczema completely cleared. Like, I'm not talking about, oh, I have to be careful to not have that food so I don't get an eczema flare. Like, no, my eczema is completely gone. And even when I do have some gluten, I don't get eczema flares anymore. So before all of this, I would try to make dinner for my husband and my kids, and I would end up on the couch or back in my bed because I was drained. I had nothing left in my tank. And I would just think, I am the worst mom ever. I can't even cook a meal for my family. But now, after implementing these things and getting my metabolism back to a healthy place, I'm able to take my boys to the park, play pickleball with them, come home after a busy day and still be energized and be able to cook dinner and clean up and not be completely out of energy and just wanting to crash. That happens when your metabolism clicks back on. Okay, it doesn't actually shut off completely, but when it picks up its pace. You're not just surviving anymore, but you're actually living. Looking back on that now, I realize I was treating my body like a car that I expected just to keep on going, keep on running without any gas in the tank. Your car cannot run on fumes. It has to have gas. Just like your body, we can't expect it to function on nothing without the energy, the fuel, the nutrients it needs to function. Once I gave my body enough food, enough of all the macronutrients and the minerals and the vitamins, I let go of stress and allowed for more rest, more peace in my life. I moved my body appropriately for the season I was in. I prioritized better sleep and I ditched the toxins. It was like everything clicked back in place. It wasn't just that my energy improved, but I feel like myself again, and even better, I feel like a better version of myself. One that's gone through a lot and has learned a lot and now has learned to take better care of my body going forward. And for the first time in years, I feel like I am not surviving anymore. I am actually thriving. So here's the big takeaway. If you're in this place where you feel drained, no matter what, you've tried all the things already and you are still completely out of energy, I want you to know that your body is not broken. It doesn't have to be like this forever. It's just waiting for the right support. And when you start giving it what it truly needs, everything changes. So if fatigue is something that you struggle with too, and you're ready to ditch your fatigue, grab my free guide, The Perfect Pick-Me-Up for Tired Moms. It is linked below. It's packed with simple, nourishing drink recipes designed to naturally support your metabolism and help you feel your best. So go ahead and check that out. And if you're looking for deeper support, you want to dive all in and combat your fatigue from all angles, check out my wellness membership, Thrive Tribe. We dive into several aspects of healing your metabolism. Or if you want personalized support and you want answers as to why you're feeling the way you're feeling and what specifically your body needs, then an HTMA might be your best option. So you can check out my HTMA Kickstart program for that. And I would love to hear from you. So drop a comment below if this video resonated with you and let me know if fatigue is something that you are struggling with. And if so, what have you tried? What have you tried to do so far to gain your energy back? If you found this video helpful, I'd appreciate it if you like it, share it with another friend that is struggling with being tired all the time and wanting to get their health on track. And don't forget to subscribe so you can get more practical tips to help you feel your best. All right, well, thank you so much for watching and hanging out, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.